and Director Daishi Matsunaga. I'm Karen Severance. Our interpreter tonight is Mihoko Imai. Allow me to just briefly introduce our guests before we get to the questions. I will start with Mr. Matsunaga. We're very happy to welcome Daishi Matsunaga back to FCCJ. He first came here in 2015 with his heralded fiction debut, Pietà in the Toilet. And he came again in 2018 to discuss his film In the Omnibus Asian Threefold Mirror 2018 Journey. Mr. Matsunaga first earned attention for his documentary work, but he's since proved his versatility in a range of formats and genres, both independently and with big studios. Egoist world premiered at the 2022 Tokyo International Film Festival, where it received the highest critics ranking of all the films in competition. And it will be seen in a wide range of international film festivals and other places overseas soon, so look for those announcements. It has also been nominated for 3 Asian Film Awards. Those announcements will be made in March. We're so happy to have you back. Welcome.
Hi, very nice to meet you. My name is Daishi Matsunaga, director of Egoist. I'm very honored to be here with our wonderful performer, Hio Miyazawa. Thank you very much.
はい、皆さんこんばんは。今日はお越しくださいましてありがとうございます。今4月皆さんご覧になった作品の監督を務めました松永大志と申します。この場に来られてとても光栄に思うとともに、宮沢ひよさんとご一緒することができて、とても嬉しいです。今夜よろしくお願いいたします。
And of course, we have the privilege of welcoming Hio Miyazawa just when his career is skyrocketing, and we can't believe that we actually got so lucky that he's here tonight. Mr. Miyazawa has been acting professionally for less than 5 years. He made his debut in 2019 with Kakegururi, the movie, and while he's been very, very active on TV and in stage performances, he has only made a small handful of films, most notably Kiba, The Fangs of Fiction in 2021, for which he won the Japan Academy Award for Best New Actor. He can also currently be seen in Legend and the Butterfly, playing Mitsuhide Akechi. And this is a huge hit, so it's a completely different role from tonight. He has been nominated as Best Supporting Actor for his role in Egoist at the Asian Film Awards. So congratulations and welcome.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. It's an honor to be here with the amazing director, Daishi Matsunaga. Amazing, yeah. I love him.
Thank you.
Yes.
So do we.
Yes, we all love him. I've always dreamt of being here, so it's a great honor. I haven't used my English in a while, so please bear with me, but I hope to have a lot of fun here. Thank you.
はい、皆さんこんばんは。このようにしてお招きいただきとても光栄に思うとともに、素晴らしい監督、松永監督とご一緒することができて、これもまた非常に光栄に思っています。本当に監督のことを愛しているのでございます。ここに来るのが本当に前々からの夢だったので、非常に嬉しいのですが、ちょっと英語を使うのが久しぶりになりますので、万が一お聞き苦しい点がありましたら、ご容赦ください。
Before we start with questions, I'd like to just point out, I think all of you got this beautiful pamphlet about the film. Of course, it's in Japanese. For those of you writing in Japanese, please note the glossary that gives you, on this page, oops, I covered up Ryohei Suzuki, the glossary that gives you the correct usage of terms related to the film and related to the LGBTQ community. Please make sure you pay attention to that.
はい、また FCCG より、記者の皆様への、お願いですが、プロダクションノートが皆さん、配布されていると思いますが、もし日本語で記事を書かれる場合、特に LGBTQ 関連用語プラス関連用語に、ご注意いただきたく、プロダクションノートの端末の方にですね、用語集、そして正しい用法等が、記載されていますので、ぜひ、ご参照くださいますようよろしくお願いいたします。
I believe everyone has stopped using Flash, but from now on we will have no Flash, please. And let me begin by asking a quick question to each of our guests, and I'll start with the director. Can you tell us what it was about this story, about this subject, that compelled you to make this film?
はい、ここより、フラッシュのご使用はお控えいただきたい、とのことですので、どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。それでまず FCCJ の方から、監督と、宮沢さんに、一問ずつ聞かせていただきますが、まずは監督の方に、このテーマそしてこのストーリーを、ぜひ手掛けたいと思ったその動機となったのはどういったことでしょうか。
はい、大きく分けて2つ、自分がこの映画にトライしたいと思った理由があります。
So there were mainly two big reasons that I wanted to take upon the challenge of making this film and telling the story.
一つはですね、僕のデビューフィルムがドキュメンタリー映画なんですけども、10年近く、友人であるピューピル、トランスジェンダーの友達を10年間撮っていました。それが公開されたのが2011年になります。
The first reason being that the very first film that I made, or the very first film that I debuted with, was a documentary film titled Pupil, in which I was featuring a friend of mine, a transgender friend of mine, and this was 10 years ago. The film was released in 2011.
当時この映画ドキュメンタリーで僕はいろいろな国の映画祭に招待をしてもらいました。その中で、当時、10年以上前ですがLGBTQ+、今では LGBTQ+ という言葉で表現させてもらいますが、それを取り囲む環境というのが圧倒的に日本と違っていたことにまずすごく驚かされました。
And while, because this documentary of mine traveled internationally to various international film festivals, I had first-hand experience watching how, and this was over 10 years ago, watching how the environment surrounding what we now call the LGBTQ+ community was very different when we compared the Japanese environment versus environments in other countries.
現在2023年になって、2011年からもう10年以上経った今、日本において、以前よりかは、理解だったり言葉というものが多くの人に浸透していっているとは思います。
And I think now, more than 10 years later, in 2023, I do think there has been some progress to a certain degree made in Japan in terms of understanding and, for example, the correct usage of certain terminologies.
ただそれでも、先日の、うちの国の首相が発言した言葉、同性婚ということに対して、同性婚を認めると社会が変わるという言葉や、元秘書官の方の、同性愛者がいたりすることに対して目に入れたくないとか隣に住みたくないとか差別的な発言をしている現状がある日本の中で、そういう誤解だったり言葉が大きな差別を生むと思っています。
はい、少々お待ちください。And just a few days ago, we all know certain remarks made by our own Prime Minister as to, for example, same-sex marriages, the possibility of same-sex, the acceptance of same-sex marriages changing this society. And we also had his executive secretary making discriminatory remarks. We know that he said that I don't want to see such couples, or I don't want to live next to them, and so forth. And I think this kind of misunderstanding in this kind of usage of words will lead to discrimination in our country.
このエゴイストは LGBTQ+ の、に対しての、定義だったりとか理解を深く求めるものが大きな目的ではありません。それでもこの映画を見た方が、考えてもらうきっかけになってもらったらいいなと思うのが一つの大きな理由です。
And so I would say that although the point or the main focus of this film is not necessarily to feature solely the LGBTQ community in terms of how we should define certain things or in terms of how we should progress with our understanding, that's not the entire point of the film. But I do hope that it serves as a catalyst for people who have seen the film to think about this topic. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to make this film.
なので、このマスコミのプレスにも、今現時点での言葉ですね、これを僕らのチームで、監修を入れてもらいながら、なるべく正確にメディアの人にこの言葉を伝えてもらうことも僕らが映画を作った大きな意味だと思っているので、皆さんに配らせてもらいました。
And that also is connected to why we included such a glossary, as was mentioned before by Karen, in our production notes, because we thought it was very important for us to disseminate such information to the press in terms of how in our contemporary times, how now we should be using such terminologies. And so we had consultants come in to our team to organize these words and to so that we could appropriately disseminate such information to the press.
Okay. I know. Sorry. もう一つはもう映画の内容なんですけども、阿川さん演じる妙子が愛についての言葉を伝えているんですけども、その言葉を読んだ時にこれを映画にしたいと思いました。
There's another reason that I was compelled to tell this story, and that was a piece of dialogue that was spoken by Miss Agawa, who plays Ryuta's mother, and she speaks of love, and that single line was really another thing that compelled me to tell this story.
Both very good reasons. Thank you. Hio-san, can you tell us, please, when you were approached about playing this role, what appealed to you most?
I had the honor of being offered this role twice, actually. Once a couple years back, and at that time, we were not able to make a film from this book. But a couple years after that, I got the offer again, and I felt like there was a message from somewhere telling me to play this role. I have a good friend of mine who we've been together for over 15 years, and he is gay. Ever since I've known him, he's had trouble finding a spot to where he felt comfortable living every day. And I feel like through this film, I may have been able to do something for him and for everybody who is in the LGBTQ+ community. Yes. Thank you.
はい、次、宮沢さんへのご質問いただきましたけれども、この役に挑戦しようと思ったきっかけというか、動機は何でしたでしょうかということですけれども、宮沢さんからはこのようにお答えいただきました。実はこの役は2度ほど打診がありまして、最初の打診はお声かけいただいたのは2年前だったんですけれども、その時は、その現実にはこぎつけませんでした。実現にはこぎつけませんでした。でもまた2回目にお声かけいただいて、その時にその動機となったのが自分の個人的なとある友人との体験が動機となったのですが、この友人とは15年来の付き合いでして、この友人はゲイなんですね。それで彼と知り合ってからというものをずっと心地よく過ごせる自分の居場所を探しているんだなっていうふうに僕は見てて感じました。なのでこの映画を作ることを通して、この友人のために何か少しでもできたのではないかと、そしてまた LGBTQ+ コミュニティのためにも何かできたのではないかという気持ちで今おります。
Thank you both. We will now open to the floor. When the microphone reaches you, please ask only one question.
はい、それでは会場の方から質問を募りたいと思います。恐縮ですが、お一人様1問までとさせていただきます。よろしくお願いします。
Okay. Yes, Madeline.
Very beautiful movie, but why is it called Egoist, please?
This would be for the director, of course. 監督へ質問になるかと思いますけれども、なぜこの映画のタイトルがエゴイストなのか教えていただけますでしょうか。
はい、まずは映画見てくれてありがとうございます。これはもともと高山誠さんという方が書いたエゴイストという小説が原作で映画を撮っています。
So first of all, this film was actually based on a novel that was written by Makoto Takayama, and the novel was of the same title.
ただそれだけでエゴイストというタイトルにしたわけではなく、エゴイストという言葉が一般的にはあまりポジティブな言葉には捉えられてないと思うんですけども、この映画で描かれている、エゴイストという、主人公の行動というのが本当に悪いことなのかいいのなのか、その愛のあり方っていうことはどういうことなのかっていうことを問いたいなと思ってエゴイストっていうものをそのまま使わせてもらいました。なので、一番最初に出てくるエゴイストという言葉と、終わった後に出てくるエゴイストっていう意味の言葉の感じがちょっと違ったらいいなと思いました。
Of course, that wasn't, of course, the only reason that we decided to title this film Egoist. I think that there's a negative connotation, of course, to the word egoist, but regardless of whether we might want to think of the protagonist's actions as quite egotistical, but really, I think, what is it? How do we define what is good and bad, and what is it to love, really? So these are the kind of sentiments that went into the decision to title it in the way that we titled it. And I think if you remember watching the film tonight, the title Egoist appears before the film and then after the film. And it's my hope that the sentiment that you feel when you see that word is a little different after you've seen the film.
Okay, yes. In the front here.
Congratulations on such a moving film.
Thank you.
My name is Keiko from the Philippines. I would like to ask the actor, Miyazawa-san, what was it like working with Director Matsunaga? And how did you prepare for the role?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the most
Is this one question?
Sorry, what's the most challenging part in portraying the role of Ryuta?
Working with him?
No, I'll just rephrase in one, okay.
Okay.
What's the most challenging part in portraying the role of Ryuta?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. はい、フィリピンから、ご質問いただきました、宮沢さんへの、ご質問になりますが、今回この龍太役を演じる上で一番難しかった点、チャレンジングだった点は何でしたでしょうか。
Well, first of all, it was an honor to work with him. And Matsunaga-san has a very unique way of filming. We had rehearsals before going into the film. And instead of working on our script, he gave us scenarios and some stuff to work on. So we did acting on the spot. And I've never done that in other films. Once we went into the film, we obviously had our script, but he allowed us to perform the way we wanted to. So the lines were not as said as it was written in the script. So that allowed us to really open up to each other, and that allowed us to really have that live performance during the film. So it was a challenge at first because I wasn't accustomed to acting like that. But after a couple of days, I've realized that there was something more to what we were doing, because our words and our expressions and our feelings came from ourselves and from each other. So that was a challenge, but it was very exciting working with him.
はい、まず松永監督とこのようにして組めたこと、とても光栄に思って、おりまして、その監督の演出について、 そしてこの役のチャレンジングだった部分についてお話をすると、非常にユニークな演出の仕方をされるんですね。でこの作品の場合は撮影に入る前にリハーサルを重ねていきました。でそのリハーサルを重ねる上では脚本ベースではなく、その監督からはこういった場面です、こういった展開ですというそのシーンのその展開の説明に終わって、でそこから、我々は芝居をしなければならなかったんですけれども、そういう意味である意味即興的な芝居をしなければなりませんでした。でそこから撮影に入ったわけですけれども、撮影中はもちろん基本的に台本脚本に基づくそのお芝居を、させていただいたのですが、割と演じたいように演じさせてくれる監督でした。なので、その脚本に書かれている言葉がそのまま、我々のセリフとなったわけでは、ありません。そういうふうにしてお互いに開かれた気持ちで演じることができたので、生き生きとした芝居につながったのではないかと思っております。自分としてはこういったことはあんまり慣れていなかったし初めてだったのですが、何か演じていると本当に自分の中から自分の感情から、湧き出てきたものが、形になったような気がしていまして、非常に刺激的な体験となりました。
I'm going to jump in here, I'm sorry. Because we're talking about acting, you have 3 of the most amazing performances in this film. I know that you first cast Ryohei Suzuki because he's an old friend of yours. How did you find this perfect balance? How did you find Hio Miyazawa?
はい、監督への質問、ちょっと挟まさせていただきますけれども、本当に主演のお三方はもうこんなに素晴らしい演技めったにないのではないかという演技を引き出せた、そういう演出をされているわけですけれども、鈴木亮平さんとはもう昔からのそのお付き合いで今回キャスティングしたと伺っているんですけれども、共演のその宮沢さん、本当に素晴らしいバランスだったと思うんですけれども、どのようにしてこのキャスティングにありついたのでしょうか、ありつけたのでしょうか。
最終的には直感ですかね。
I would say it's intuition. It all came down to intuition.
That's such a dodge. Really? That's all you're going to say?
そうですね。
And luck. Maybe luck?
見た目というのが特に、直感以外にも見た目というのはとても大きな僕にとっては要素でした。背が高い2人であり、僕にとって背が高くてルックスがいいっていうことが、この映画にとってマイナスにならないかっていうことが一番の、言ってしまうと心配だったんですけども、そこをちょっと自分で冷静に考えて、ヒヨの過去の作品だったり両編の過去の作品を見る中で、自分が演出をしたらこの僕がいいと思える直感、ドキュメンタリータッチな撮り方だったりするんですけども、そこにフィットするんじゃないかって思いました。
I said intuition, but of course there were other things that came into the equation. One was their physical appearance. One thing I was actually worried about was they're both tall, they're both good looking, and I was very worried about the fact that it might actually negatively impact the film, that their physical appearance is so wonderful. But as I was watching, as I went through all of their the previous titles that they had done, I gradually became to realize that it would indeed, they would both fit into what I was envisioning for the film, which was to capture them and feature them in a certain documentary type of way.
Thank you. Kathy, yes.
Thank you. I've been watching in recent years the growth of the use of intimacy coordinators in films. I think it first came to my attention with Bridgerton on Netflix, which was also quite racy. And I was wondering if you could talk about Miyazawa-san as an actor, because this is the first time I think I've seen one in a Japanese film credits, what it was like working with an intimacy coordinator, or if you or your fellow actors have had maybe negative experiences in the past with issues about consent and so on as an actor. Thank you.
はい、今回はそのクレジットの中にもインティマシー、I think it was intimacy choreographer.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Choreographer written here.
インティマシーコリオグラファーというその担当者がいてクレジットされているんですけれども、私が初めてこういうクレジットを目にしたのが現代でごめんなさい、ネットフリックスのブリジャートンという、作品があってでそこで初めて目にしたんですけれども、ということで演出そしてこういったインティマシーシーンでの演技について、宮沢さんにお伺いしたいんですけれども、今まで例えば、Were you talking about other actors that might have
And so having a coordinator there, there are issues of consent with actors that historically have been ignored, and so it's very important for actors to give consent to scene, I think.
それでこういったシーンを、撮る上での例えば同意について、例えば今まで、その同意していないけれども、無理やり例えば、無理やり的な演出があっただとか、そういう経験あるいはその経験談、とお聞きしたことがあるのかどうか、インティマシーコリオグラフィーそしてその同意について教えていただけますでしょうか。
In both previous films, and not just films, but dramas and acting in general, I've never experienced having an intimacy choreographer, and it was always the norm. People just automatically thought that was normal and just the way it should be. But now that I've experienced having one this time, I can't imagine acting in the future without having support like that. And I think that's a huge step for Japanese film and the industry in general, because there should always be consent, no matter what we're doing. And at the same time, there's so much that we don't know and don't know how to express. So it's just good to have someone there to stand in the middle and just to watch and to support us, because that allows us to act more freely and not be afraid to do what we think is right. Because in the past, I've feared these scenes because I didn't know what people expected and what I would be expected to do on the set. But now, just knowing that we have support, it makes acting just so much better and so much more. It allows lots of possibilities now.
Thank you. はい。
It's a lot.
ドラマにおいても、過去に、自分の経験について言うと、今までそういういわゆるインティマシーコリオグラファーが現場につくっていう経験はしたことがなかったんですね。この作品に出演するまでは。ただそれが当たり前だと思っておりました、それまでは。だけれどもこういう経験を経てからは、こういったサポート、このようにしてサポートをしてくれるスタッフが、いない現場は想像できないですね。でこういったことが起きているのは日本の映画にとっても日本の映画産業にとっても大きな一歩だと思っていますし、どんな演出をされる、どんな演技をするにしてもやはり同意というものは欠かせないものだと思っております。というのも我々もまたまだ知らないことがたくさんありますし、どう表現したらいいのか分からなくなることもありますので、なのでやっぱり現場にそうやって我々をちゃんと監視といいますか、我々を見てくれて、そしてちゃんとサポートしてくれる存在がいるっていうのは大きな安心感になりますし、その安心を得た分自由に演技をすることができるんですね。だから臆せずにこうだと思える芝居がそれだけ自由にできるっていう利点があると思います。それまでは結構やっぱりこういったシーンは非常に何というかやっぱり怖くって、それは現場で何を期待されているのかわからないまま、やることになる、そういった怖さがありましたけれども、こういったサポート役がつくことでもしかしたらいろんなお芝居ができたその可能性を潰さずに済むと思っているので、とても良いことだと思っております。
You've also worked with an LGBTQ+ inclusive director. Do you want to mention anything about that?
また今回この作品で、そのインティマシーコリオグラファー以外にも LGBTQ+ インクルーシブディレクターという役職がありまして、こういう担当者もいらしたんですけれども、これについても教えていただけますかという監督への質問です。
はい、この作品は役者含めて撮影部含めて、プロデューサー含めて誰一人かけてもできなかった作品だと思っています。ただその中で、LGBTQ+ のインクルーシブディレクターとして入ってくれた宮田蓮さんの存在は僕にとって非常に大きかったです。
So I would first start out the answer by saying that for the completion of this film, all of the members of the cast and the staff and the producers were proved indispensable in making this film. But I would make special mention to Mr. Ren Miyata, who was our LGBTQ+ inclusive director.
この作品では、ゲイ当事者の、キャスティングとして、主人公の鈴木亮平役演じる康介の友人としての、キャスティングした居酒屋だったりのシーンで出てきている、康介の友人は皆さん、ゲイ当事者の方たちに演じてもらってます。
One thing that is worth mentioning is the casting of Kosuke's friends, the gay community surrounding Kosuke. You saw them in the izakaya, in the bar scenes, in the izakaya scenes, and these are actual people who are part of the gay community.
彼らを探してもらったのも、宮さんに相談しましたし、先ほどの、インティマシーコリオグラファーの聖子さんのことも、宮田蓮さんから紹介してもらいました。
And it was Mr. Miyata who had cast these people, these groups of friends, and it was also him that introduced me to our intimacy choreographer, Seigo.
そしてさらにもう一つ、宣伝において僕らが正確な言葉を伝えたいということで LGBTQ+ の言葉についての、用語の監修だったり僕らのこういう時でのスピーチの監修を一緒にしてもらっている松岡さんという方がいらっしゃいます。
And also, I have to give special mention to a gentleman, Mr. Matsuoka, who has also served as a wonderful consultant in all of the press that we're doing for this film, because we want to be very accurate in using the terminology or anything with regards to the LGBTQ+ community and these issues. So anything that we've said to the public or to the press or during these speeches and so forth, Mr. Matsuoka has kept a close eye for us.
そして今日もお二人はここに来てくれて僕らを見守っているので本当にいつもありがたいなと思います。
And they are both here tonight.
Okay, Kentaro, you want to put your hand back up so they can, or you change your mind?
No, I think you kind of answered. I had more specific questions, which was like basically was covered, but
Okay.
yeah, but I had more specific question. What was the purpose of the LGBT plus inclusive director? Was he on the set every day? Was he directing? Did he give advice? And also
Okay, that's
but
enough.
also the choreographer. Did he help choose like the shots and all that? Was it all choreographed? And how was that like?
So you're talking about the inclusivity director and the choreographer, both of them?
Yeah, I thought that was.
Okay. 先ほどお話しいただいたその宮田さんと聖子さんですが、現場では具体的にどういった、ことをしていただいたのでしょうか。
本当に細かく、所作だったり言葉の使い方、それはセックスのシーンの描写の仕方について僕の横で、一緒にモニターを見ながら、細かいことをすべて相談させてもらいました。で役者も、鈴木亮平、宮沢氷魚も、細かいところで相談があるときには常にやっぱりそこにいてもらったので、相談してもらってました。
Both of them act as consultants in terms of how one is supposed to, for example, carry his his body, what kind of language to use, and so forth. And especially with when we were capturing with the sex scenes as well, they were with us together, consulting us, watching the monitor. Together with us, and so we were able to rely on them to very minute details. With Mr. Suzuki and Mr. Miyazawa as well, they were free to consult these two gentlemen with any questions that they had.
I saw a hand here. Yes.
共同通信の森と申します。宮沢さんにお伺いしたいんですが、このほど解任された首相秘書官のLGBT に関する不適切な発言について、どう思われますか。それと関連して、彼の発言に代表される日本社会の LGBT に対する不理解不寛容についてどう思われますか。それからそれに
Please, only one question, okay?
法制化の遅れ、これも含めて、お願いします。一つの質問です。
So this is a question from Mr. Mori of Kyodo Tsushin, and the question is to Mr. Miyazawa. What is his opinion on these recent discriminatory remarks towards the LGBTQ+ community that was made by our executive secretary to the Prime Minister? Also, by extension, what does he think about the Japanese society as a whole and its intolerance towards the LGBTQ+ community, and also in terms of the delay that we're seeing, or the lack of progress that we're seeing in legislation as well?
これも日本語の方がいいのかな。共同通信です。僕は今まで政治的発言は、自分の一意見としてあまり表に述べてはこなかったんですけども、この一件で感じたことは、もちろん政治的問題もあるとは思うんですけども、人として、そうですね、その発言が出たことによってたくさんの人が声を上げて、その失言に対しての自分たちの意見であったり、何か行動するというものが今回たくさん見れたと思うんですよね。それは日本の今までの歴史を考えてもとても大きなステップアップだと思っていて、世界的に考えても間違いなく日本は前進はしているとは思うんですけども、他国に比べると遅れを取っているところがたくさんあると思います。そんな中、世論というか世論の皆様がたくさん声を上げたというのは、すごく日本の未来に希望が見えると思います。とても悲しい出来事ではあるんですけども、それによって前向きな、皆様のその意志の強さというか、意見をどんどん発信していこうというものが見えたと思うので、僕はそこに、もっと注目が集まってもいいんじゃないかなというふうに思っております。
ありがとうございます。So up until now, I really haven't made that many political remarks, but after having gone through this experience, I would say that through what happened across these few days, we are seeing people voicing their opinions against what the remarks, the discriminatory remarks that were made. And we are seeing people voicing their own opinions. We are seeing people taking action. I think we've seen a lot of that through this incident. And when we look back at Japan historically, I do think that this is a big step forward for our society. Of course, Japan has been making progress, but I think I would have to say that in comparison with other countries, there has indeed been a lack of progress in this arena. And so to see so many people in our society voicing their own opinions like this leaves a sense of hope for us as we march forward into the future, I think. So it was indeed very sad to hear these remarks, but I think just to see so many people with positive resolve and with this resolve to really voice their own opinions, I think leaves us with, again, a sense of hope. And I think it would do us good to pay more attention to that as well.
We're running out of time quickly, and I have a question that I think it's the question that everybody here is thinking. Since Hio-san so kindly spoke to us in his wonderful English earlier, in 2015, your co-star, Ryohei Suzuki, was here, and I said to him, why aren't you going to Hollywood? And he told me at that time, I think I still have so much more to learn here. Why don't you go to Hollywood? Miyazawa.
I would love to.
最後にこれどうしても宮沢さんにお伺いしたいということでご質問いただきましたけれども、非常に堪能な英語でお話をされたということで、鈴木亮平さんにもこちら FCCJ で2015年にご登壇いただきまして、なぜハリウッドへ出ていかないのという質問をさせていただいたんですけれども、まだその時はまだ日本で学ぶべきことがたくさんありましてっていうふうにご回答いただいたんですね。ということで同じ質問を宮沢さんにもさせていただこうかなと思うんですけど、いかがでしょう。
That is obviously one of my big dreams, to perform abroad, not necessarily only in America, Hollywood, but somewhere outside of Japan. Yes, I'm trying. But I actually had the opportunity of visiting London in January of this year, and I watched a couple of plays, and I was just amazed by the performances abroad. And
that's okay, don't worry, you have what it takes.
Really? Okay.
実力は十分におありだと思いますということですけど。
So hopefully in the near future, I'll have the opportunity to sit here again with a film taken somewhere abroad. So hopefully I'll be able to see everyone then, and I will do my best to somehow perform abroad. Thank you.
はい、海外で活躍するのはやっぱり大きな夢の一つでありまして、ハリウッド、アメリカだけではなく、日本国外のどこかで活動したいとは思っていますので、いろいろ試行錯誤してはおります。今年の1月にたまさかロンドンで、行く機会がありまして、そこでいろんな芝居を見させていただいたんですけれども、やはり海外の役者とのパフォーマンスに圧倒されたんですね。なので自分も近い将来、願わくば、海外で撮影された何か作品を携えて、またこちら FCCJ で登壇させていただければと思っております。最善を尽くして頑張ってまいります。
Thank you.
Yay. And speaking of overseas, of course, Mr. Matsunaga has also made films overseas, and he will probably do so again. I won't ask you about that. We've run out of time, but I will ask you this. Where is this film going overseas? Do you have any information you can share with us?
また松永監督にもご質問ですけれども、海外の話をしていたところでしたのでね、この作品の海外展開についてはいかがでしょうか。
はい、まず3月にアジアンフィルムアワードノミネートが決まっているので、まずそこで、役者とともに授賞式に行きます。それと映画祭いくつか決まってますけども、まだちょっと、発表できないものがありますが、それとは別に、4月に台湾で劇場公開が決まりました。やっぱり映画は映画祭の先に各国での劇場公開っていうものにつながるといいなと思っているので、この作品が一つでも多くの国の劇場でかかることを本当に望みます。
So first of all, I would say we've been invited, of course, with the nominations to make our appearance at the Asian Film Awards, the award ceremony at the Asian Film Awards. So that's going to happen in March. And also, we have been invited to a few international film festivals, which we are not able to announce the details as of yet. But I will tell you that we have secured theatrical release in Taiwan in April. And it is always my hope when my films travel internationally to international film festivals that it does connect to, or that does lead to theatrical releases in international territories. So I do, my ultimate hope for this film is that it secures as many theatrical releases internationally as possible. この後フォトセッションに移りたいと思います。
One more thing.
本当に今日はどうもありがとうございました。僕らのこの映画のことも含めて皆さんの言葉を作る方々に映画のことを広めてもらいたいという思いと、このエゴイストが含んでいる、テーマについて、誤解のある、認識で、悲惨な差別とかが起こらないといいなと思っています。どうか皆様の言葉の力で、少しでも、何か僕らが伝えたいものを多くの方に伝えてもらえたら僕らがここにいる意味が非常にあると思います。皆さんどうぞよろしくお願いします。
So once again, thank you to everybody for coming today. We do once again ask the members of the press to really talk about or engage in the conversation about what we are trying to say, the theme that we are depicting with this film, Egoist. There is again a lot of discrimination or misunderstandings that have led to discriminations within our society. So if you could please do use the power of your word to communicate what we are trying to say with this film. And if you are all able to do that, then our appearance here would have not been in vain. Thank you very much.
Thank you.